Once upon a time, Las Vegas was the closest thing to a modern kingdom, a place where any ordinary man could feel like a king, even if only for a night. The neon lights didn't just glow, they sang. Buffets overflowed, valet parking was free, and the city itself seemed to whisper, "Welcome, stranger, this is your lucky day." But walk the strip today, and the magic is gone. The lights still shine, but they don't dazzle, they glare. The laughter has thinned, the crowds have faded, and what used to be the city of dreams now feels like a corporate trap disguised in glitter. What happened to America's playground? How did a city built on excitement become a monument to exhaustion and distrust? And why does this matter far beyond Nevada's desert borders? Because the disease consuming Las Vegas isn't confined to its casinos, it's the same greed now infecting service industries across America. Tonight, we'll peel back the glittering curtain and expose how the city that once promised fortune became a masterclass in financial manipulation. The real gamble in Vegas isn't at the blackjack table anymore. It's believing the illusion that this city still cares about you. It starts innocently enough: a cheap room, a flashing deal, a promise that you found a bargain in the most famous playground on earth. You click "Book Now" on that $79 per night offer, already picturing yourself soaking in the lights of the strip. But when you arrive, your wallet meets its first ambush. That same room now costs $150 before you've even touched a card or a cocktail. Welcome to the age of the resort fee. In theory, it's supposed to cover amenities. In reality, it's the modern equivalent of a magician's misdirection. You think you're getting a deal, but the real trick is buried in fine print. Wi-Fi you don't use, gym access you never wanted, local calls no one makes anymore, all magically billed at $45 to $55 a night. It's not a service, it's an illusion wrapped in corporate language. Guests describe it as paying for a steak dinner and getting a plate of crackers. Others call it what it truly is: a confidence game approved by accounting departments. And yet the deeper damage isn't just financial, it's psychological. Every hidden fee erodes something bigger than money: trust. When you walk into a casino already feeling cheated, you play less, you tip less, you smile less. Las Vegas used to seduce its visitors. Now it shakes them down. A traveler from Michigan wrote on Reddit, "I used to go twice a year. After that $200 in surprise fees, I decided once was enough." He's not alone. The Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority reported a steady decline in repeat tourists, many citing value dissatisfaction. Translation: people are tired of paying for air. But if you think that's the end of the deception, think again. Because the moment you try to park your car, Vegas makes sure you remember who's really in charge. Once, parking was a symbol of hospitality: free, open, and welcoming. It was the unspoken rule that said, "Your family here." That gesture alone set Vegas apart from other tourist cities. Today, that promise has been paved over with credit card machines. $18 to $25 a day for self-parking, $40 to $50 if you prefer valet, plus tips, of course. What used to feel like a perk now feels like a toll booth on your own vacation. And it doesn't matter if you're a local or a loyal guest, everyone pays. The justification? Security and infrastructure upgrades. The truth? Revenue, pure and simple. Casinos have realized they no longer compete for your affection, they compete for your tolerance. They know you'll grumble, maybe curse under your breath, and still pay. Because what's another $40 when you've already spent thousands to be here? But here's the hidden cost. The moment that free parking disappeared, something intangible vanished with it: the spirit of generosity that once defined the city. Older travelers remember pulling into massive garages, stepping into cool air conditioning, and walking straight to the casino floor without ever opening their wallets. It was part of the ritual, part of the magic. Now, visitors are greeted not by a smile, but by a blinking pay station. One YouTube commenter put it perfectly: they weren't happy robbing you at the tables and slot machines, now they rob you everywhere. That shift from invitation to extraction changed everything. The free parking perk was never just about convenience. It was psychological hospitality, a small but powerful gesture that said, "We're glad you came." Now it says, "Pay before you play." And people notice. Conventions have begun factoring parking costs into travel budgets, which means fewer attendees, smaller events, and weaker local economies. Rideshare use spikes during major weekends, creating surges that punish tourists twice, once for the parking fee, again for avoiding it. For locals, it's worse. Many who once dropped by to gamble after work now stay away entirely. It's not just about money, it's about pride. Nobody wants to feel like a stranger in their own city. By the time most tourists reach their hotel lobby, they're already fatigued, not because of the desert heat, but because of the constant feeling of being nickeled and dimed. The city that used to shout, "Come and have fun," now whispers, "Pay first." And this is just the surface, the easy-to-see traps that hit you before you've unpacked your bags. The next layer goes deeper, into the invisible ways Vegas charges you for your time, your patience, and even your sense of dignity. Because if you thought paying to park your car was insulting, wait until you see how much they'll charge you simply to open your hotel room door a few hours early.
There was a time when Las Vegas was famous not only for its bright lights, but for its warm heart. You arrived tired from a flight, and the hotel clerk smiled, slid you your room key, and said, "Welcome to Vegas. Enjoy your stay." No extra charge for being early, no penalty for leaving late, because Vegas wanted you relaxed, happy, ready to spend. But in 2025, time itself has become another commodity, bought, sold, and taxed. Imagine landing in the city at 10 a.m., eager to start your vacation. Your room is clean, empty, and waiting. Yet when you approach the front desk, you're met with a grin that hides a knife. Early check-in? That'll be $75. The logic makes no sense. This is a city that never sleeps, where housekeeping runs 24 hours and rooms are turned over like clockwork. Yet you're told that accessing what you've already paid for, even a few hours early, somehow requires an extra fee. And the insult doesn't end there. Leave after 11 a.m.? Another $75. Congratulations. You've just been billed $150 for the crime of wanting rest. Hotels defend these fees as operational necessities, but let's call them what they are: pure revenue padding. It's a polite way of saying, we'll charge you because we can. For guests, the message is clear. This isn't hospitality, it's hostage-taking. One traveler described the experience on TripAdvisor. "I arrived early, after a red-eye flight. My room was ready. I could see it on the screen. They refused to hand me the key unless I paid extra. So I sat in the lobby for 4 hours watching them check in people who arrived after me." There's no better metaphor for modern Vegas: comfort replaced by control. Once, the city's charm was its unpredictability, its willingness to bend the rules. Today, it's the opposite. Everything has a rule, a charge, a digital prompt reminding you that pleasure comes with a price. These nickel and dime tactics don't just drain wallets, they poison the atmosphere. You arrive frustrated before your vacation even begins. You tip less, you gamble less, and when you leave, you tell your friends, Vegas isn't worth it anymore. And that sentiment spreads faster than any marketing campaign ever could. It's not just about time. It's how the city now monetizes every gesture that used to be a courtesy. Room cleaning, bag storage, late-night room service, all tagged with hidden surcharges. Even phone calls to the front desk now route through automated systems designed to save labor, not serve people. The result? The death of genuine service. A bellhop who's worked on the Strip for 20 years put it bluntly in a local forum. "We used to make people feel special. Now management wants us to make people pay." That's the quiet tragedy behind every glowing casino facade. The erosion of pride among the workers who once defined the Vegas experience. When the people who serve you stop believing in hospitality, you feel it immediately. What's more, these policies have ripple effects across the entire city. Tourists spend less time relaxing and more time calculating, comparing rates, watching receipts, questioning every transaction. The city's magic isn't built on math, it's built on emotion, and emotion doesn't survive itemized billing. There's also a deeper, more dangerous shift. The same corporate logic that invented early check-in fees has now spread into the city's DNA, a kind of financial virus infecting everything, from casinos to restaurants. It's no longer about service or satisfaction, it's about extraction. The casinos, once temples of chance, have followed suit. Blackjack tables now pay 6 to 5 instead of 3 to 2, cutting your odds without you realizing. Slot machines have tighter algorithms. Even comp drinks, the iconic free cocktail that once made gamblers feel like VIPs, now come with conditions. You're not rewarded for playing, you're monitored. A system tracks how much you bet and how long you stay, and only if the computer deems you valuable enough does your next drink magically appear. Vegas hasn't just monetized time, it's monetized trust. And that's the part that stings most. The unspoken agreement between guest and host, you play, we take care of you, has been rewritten into you pay and we still take more. For decades, Las Vegas thrived on illusion, but it was a generous illusion. You knew the odds were against you, but the experience made it worthwhile. Now, the illusion is gone, replaced by a calculator that never stops adding. As one longtime visitor said online, Vegas used to feel like an escape. Now it feels like an invoice. And just when you think you've seen the last of the fees, the waiter arrives, smiling politely, with another surprise waiting at the bottom of your dinner receipt. Because the next betrayal isn't about time or space. It's about gratitude itself.
There's a quiet irony buried deep in Las Vegas's new business model. This is a city that once taught the world how to tip, how to reward a smile, a cold drink, a sense of being taken care of. Tipping wasn't just money, it was connection, a handshake, a wink between equals. Today, that human exchange has been replaced by a line of fine print. Sit down at almost any restaurant on the Strip, and before your food even hits the table, an 18% to 22% service charge has already been added. The receipt looks normal until you realize the tip line is still there, blank, waiting, daring you to double pay. You're no longer tipping a person, you're tipping a system. A tourist from Canada wrote online, "I ordered a $14 beer by the pool. When the bill came, it was $18 after venue and service fees, and the server still handed me a pen for the tip." That's not hospitality, that's humiliation. These automatic charges are justified as guaranteeing fair pay for staff, but the truth is murkier. Many employees never see that full amount. It's pooled, taxed, distributed unevenly, or simply absorbed by the corporate machine. The result? Workers resent management, customers resent workers, and everyone leaves feeling cheated. Las Vegas used to thrive on a simple emotional equation. Generosity in equals generosity out. You felt good spending money because you were part of the show. Now that relationship has curdled. Every smile feels transactional. Every thank you sounds hollow. A bartender who's been at a major casino for 15 years confessed to a local paper, "We're told to smile more when people complain about fees. But after a while, it's hard to smile when you know they're right." That's the quiet heartbreak behind the neon, the soul of service dying, one automatic charge at a time. Online travel forms are now filled with warnings. Check your bill twice before you tip in Vegas. Some visitors post pictures of receipts with 3 separate fees: service, venue, administration. The math doesn't just hurt wallets, it insults intelligence. This creeping normalization of mandatory tipping is more than a policy shift, it's a cultural one. It transforms gratitude, one of the most genuine human emotions, into a tax. And the psychological toll runs deep. When people stop tipping because they want to, and start tipping because they have to, the emotion that once bound the service industry together evaporates. Even worse, this trend doesn't stop at restaurants. Spas, salons, concierge desks all quietly insert hidden fees under comforting names like sustainability contribution or wellness support. What's really being supported is the illusion that these businesses still care about service. The cumulative effect is devastating. Travelers used to leave Vegas with lighter wallets but fuller hearts. Now they leave with detailed receipts and heavy resentment. One local reviewer summed it up perfectly. Vegas has become a place where even kindness costs extra. And that line, that single sentence, might be the epitaph of the modern Strip. But it's not just about meals and drinks. The same cynical logic that turned tipping into taxation is now rewriting the entire entertainment industry. The shows, once the crown jewel of Vegas, are being smothered by layers of processing, facility, and convenience fees so inflated they sometimes surpass the cost of the ticket itself. Want to see your favorite headliner at the Sphere? You'll pay $150 for the seat and another $60 in extra charges. Even buying tickets directly from the box office doesn't spare you. Every transaction is a trap door. For a family of 4, that can mean hundreds of dollars gone before the curtain even rises. And when you sit in your seat, sipping that overpriced beer, the magic doesn't sparkle anymore. It stings. Because somewhere between the first click and the final checkout, the joy was replaced by arithmetic. That's the tragedy of Vegas's transformation. The city that once offered escape from reality has become the most ruthless reminder of it. And yet, despite the growing outrage, the system persists, not because people love it, but because they've learned to expect it. That's the danger. Once exploitation becomes normalized, resistance fades. Las Vegas used to sell fantasy. Now it sells fatigue wrapped in neon, disguised as luxury. And as the receipts pile up, you begin to ask yourself a darker question. If tipping has been hijacked, and entertainment is just another cash extraction scheme, what's next? Because if they can charge you for gratitude and laughter, what stops them from charging you for the illusion of luck itself? The answer lies in the casinos, the beating heart of Las Vegas, and the next frontier of its quiet betrayal. The casino floor was once the great equalizer. You could walk in with $20 and for a few fleeting hours feel like you belonged to the same world as the high rollers. The chips, the cards, the sounds, they didn't judge. Everyone had a shot, even if the odds were slim. That illusion, that chance, was what made Las Vegas legendary. But in 2025, the game isn't just about chance anymore. It's about control. Today, the blackjack tables that once paid 3-2 for a natural 21 now pay 6-5. That small change might sound trivial, but in reality, it tilts the math dramatically and silently in the house's favor. Over the course of a night, that difference can drain hundreds from a casual player without them ever realizing why they lost faster than before. Even slot machines, once unpredictable and exhilarating, have been quietly tightened. Modern algorithms adjust payouts dynamically, using real-time analytics to measure how much you spent and how long you've played. It's no longer just a game of luck. It's a system watching you, tracking you, and learning how to take just enough to keep you playing. A former casino technician admitted anonymously online, these machines are designed to reward you just enough to feel hope, but never enough to leave happy. That's not entertainment, that's behavioral engineering. Even poker, the one game where skill once offered a fair fight, isn't safe. Entry fees now include mysterious gaming surcharges and table maintenance fees. In some cases, 10% of every tournament pot is skimmed before the first hand is even dealt. And if you're thinking, well, that's the price of doing business, you're missing the bigger picture. Vegas isn't just adjusting the odds, it's rewriting the psychology of gambling itself. In the old days, losing in Vegas was fun because it felt like your choice. You took the risk. You rolled the dice. But now even that illusion of agency is fading. Every flashing light and celebratory jingle is part of a meticulously crafted experience designed to manipulate behavior, not reward it. This shift didn't happen overnight. It crept in slowly behind slogans like modernization and innovation. Casinos replaced friendly dealers with digital tables.
Loyalty cards became surveillance tools, logging every spin, every bet, every purchase. The result? A data-driven system that knows your habits better than you do. You're no longer a guest. You're a data point. One longtime gambler described it best on Reddit. Vegas used to rob you with charm. Now it just robs you. Even comp drinks, that legendary symbol of Vegas hospitality, have fallen victim to the algorithm. Once, a waitress would appear after your second hand with a smile and a whiskey sour, a gesture that made you feel like a high roller. Today, your free drink depends on your betting profile. If the system decides you're playing too slow or too cheap, the cocktail never comes. The house hasn't just increased its edge, it's stripped away every trace of humanity in the process. And the damage doesn't end on the casino floor. Because when players spend less time playing and more time calculating, the economy around the table suffers too. Dealers earn fewer tips, bartenders make fewer sales, the electric buzz that once filled the air, that sense of collective thrill, has dimmed into a dull hum of quiet resentment. Some visitors walk through modern casinos and describe the experience as sterile. Everything looks perfect, but it feels empty, like a replica of its former self. The same way an AI painting can mimic beauty without emotion, today's Vegas can mimic excitement without joy. This is what happens when greed becomes the house strategy. What used to be about chance and spectacle is now about precision and profit. The house doesn't just want you to lose, it wants you to control how you lose, when you lose, and how much you'll tolerate before walking away. And what's worse, this obsession with data and profit has begun to consume the workers too. Dealers report tighter surveillance, smaller breaks, and pressure to push side bets in premium tables. The magic of human interaction, that wink, that small talk, that sense of shared luck, has been replaced by metrics and quotas. As one ex-dealer put it on YouTube comment, "We used to make people believe they could win, now we just make them keep playing." That's not gambling, that's extraction. And yet the irony is brutal. The more the casinos tighten their grip, the more they drive away the very customers they depend on. People aren't stupid. They sense when the game isn't fair. They can tell when they've stopped being entertained and started being harvested. It's a slow-motion collapse, not of buildings, but of belief. Vegas was built on faith, faith that luck could change, that the next spin could turn your life around. Strip away that faith and all that's left is noise, lights, and an emptiness money can't fill. But the greed doesn't stop at the tables.
It spills into every corner of the city, into the paychecks of its workers, the lives of its locals, and the future of the very people who keep this illusion alive. Because when the city's own employees can no longer afford to live where they work, you realize the house isn't just winning, it's feeding on itself. For decades, Las Vegas sold the dream that anyone could make it here. Dealers, bartenders, musicians, cleaners. The city was built on the backs of ordinary workers chasing extraordinary tips. But that dream, like the city's glittering skyline, is starting to crack under the weight of its own greed. The collapse didn't come with a bang. It crept in quietly, disguised as efficiency. As casinos and hotels tightened margins, the first victims weren't tourists, they were the workers. Automation replaced front desk clerks. Robot bartenders poured drinks with mechanical precision. Self-check-in kiosks smiled coldly from the lobbies where once a human voice said, "Welcome to Vegas." In 2025, more than 12,000 hospitality jobs vanished from the Strip alone. For the corporations, it was a strategic shift. For the people who cleaned rooms, served food, or dealt cards, it was survival slipping away. A former MGM housekeeper told a local news outlet, "I gave the city 20 years. When the robots came, I trained my replacement." Vegas, the city that promised everyone a seat at the table, is quietly pushing its own citizens out of the game. And the dominoes don't stop there. Rising rents and disappearing wages have forced thousands of workers to move to cheaper towns outside the valley. Commutes stretch past 2 hours. Families are split. Communities that once thrived in the shadow of the neon are now fading like old postcards. Drive 10 minutes off the Strip and the glitter disappears. Empty apartments, pawn shops, and payday loan offices tell the real story of the entertainment capital of the world. Behind the luxury facades, the city is eating its own, one paycheck at a time. Local unions, once powerful, are now struggling to keep pace. Negotiations with mega corporations are like shouting into the desert wind. For every contract gained, another round of layoffs wipes out the victory. And what happens when the people who keep the lights on can no longer afford to live near the lights? The illusion begins to flicker. The decline isn't just economic, it's cultural. The city's personality, once shaped by flamboyant showgirls and charming dealers, has been sterilized. The old Vegas charisma, part danger, part delight, has been replaced by scripted politeness and corporate slogans. Even the performers feel it. A magician who once headlined a mid-tier show at Planet Hollywood lamented online, "Vegas used to reward creativity. Now, it rewards consistency. Nobody wants to take risks anymore. Not artists, not gamblers, not even the city itself." That line captures the new Las Vegas perfectly. A place that once thrived on risk, now paralyzed by greed. As the corporate titans consolidate, MGM, Caesars, Wynn, competition gives way to monopoly. Prices rise, wages stagnate, and choice disappears. The result is a kind of slow suffocation. Tourists feel it in their bills, workers feel it in their lungs. Crime is creeping back into the story too, not in the glamorous mob-era sense, but in the quiet desperation of modern poverty. Car break-ins, petty theft, and housing scams have become routine in neighborhoods that once pulsed with hope. When a city starts taking from its own, it stops being a community. It becomes an economy with a zip code. But even amid the gloom, there are flickers of rebellion. Locals are organizing small-scale shows off-strip, intimate, affordable, and defiantly human. A bartender in Henderson runs a community event called Vegas Without Fees, where neighbors share drinks and stories without price tags. It's small, symbolic, but powerful, a protest against the corporate chokehold. Still, the bigger system grinds on, powered by a hunger that no jackpot can satisfy. Every attempt at reform is swallowed by the machine. The same ads that once promised adventure now sell luxury loneliness, sleek, silent, and soulless. Vegas didn't fall because it lost money. It fell because it lost balance. A city that once lived by the motto, "What happens here stays here," is now haunted by a darker truth. What happens here spreads everywhere. Because the infection of greed isn't staying in Nevada, it's spreading to theme parks that charge experience fees, to airlines that price oxygen, to restaurants that sell nostalgia at a premium. Las Vegas is no longer a warning sign on the horizon. It's the mirror held up to the rest of America. And as that reflection sharpens, one chilling question remains. If the city built on fantasy can collapse under the weight of its own profits, what happens to the rest of a nation built on the same idea? The answer lies in the final illusion Vegas still clings to, the illusion of conscience. Because when a city starts charging you to go green, even morality has a price tag. It arrives quietly, almost politely, at the bottom of your hotel bill. A few harmless-looking words: energy surcharge, carbon offset fee, sustainability contribution, $8 a night. Not much on its own, but after everything else, the resort fee, the parking fee, the service fee for the service you never got, this final line feels like an insult wrapped in virtue. Vegas has found a way to monetize even guilt. They tell you this fee helps offset the carbon footprint of your stay. It funds green initiatives, they say, community restoration, energy conservation. But step outside your window and look at the Strip, a canyon of neon lights, fountains blasting water into desert air, and massive LED screens glowing 24 hours a day. It's hard to believe your $8 a night is saving the planet. This is not environmentalism, it's optics. A moral tax disguised as a conscience. The psychology behind it is brilliant and cruel. Guests feel uncomfortable questioning the charge because it's cloaked in virtue. Who wants to argue against saving the earth? Refuse to pay, and you risk being labeled selfish. Accept it, and you become complicit in the illusion. A traveler from Oregon wrote in frustration, "They charged me an eco fee at a hotel where every hallway light was on 24/7. It's not about the environment, it's about excuses." That single line captures the hypocrisy of a city that markets sustainability while guzzling more energy than some nations. The neon glow that once symbolized freedom now exposes something darker: corporate greenwashing at its most profitable. But the real damage of the carbon fee isn't financial, it's spiritual. It's the final betrayal, the point where greed begins to wearing the mask of goodness. For decades, Las Vegas never pretended to be moral. That was part of its charm. It was honest about its vices. You came here to break the rules, to indulge in what the rest of the world judged. Sin City, they called it. And everyone smiled because it was supposed to be sinful. But this new era is different. The city that said, "We're bad and we know it," now says, "We care and we'll charge you for it." The rebellion is gone, the honesty is gone. What remains is a sterilized, moralized version of greed, one that hides behind words like sustainability and responsibility. It's the perfect con, when profit learns to imitate virtue. And that's when you realize this isn't just about fees. It's about the transformation of a culture. A city that once embodied freedom has become a monument to hypocrisy. The very act of caring has been commercialized. The workers feel it too. We used to hand guests free bottles of water during heat waves. Now management tells us to sell them a hydration package for $12.99. Every act of kindness has a barcode now. The environmental fee is simply the last stage in the evolution of corporate greed. When a company learns to profit from guilt, it becomes untouchable. Because how do you protest something that claims to be good? You don't. You swallow it like the rest of the fees and leave the city a little poorer, a little angrier, and a little more aware that something sacred has been lost. The tragedy is that Las Vegas didn't need to become this way. It could have evolved sustainably, intelligently, compassionately. Instead, it chose to build a new illusion that exploitation could be ethical, that greed could wear green. And if this were just a Vegas problem, it'd be bad enough. But it's not. The same corporate playbook is spreading across America. Airlines now sell carbon credits for flights they still overbook. Cruise lines charge environmental surcharges while dumping waste into the ocean. Restaurants charge wellness fees while paying staff starvation wages. What happens in Vegas, it turns out, doesn't stay there anymore. It spreads like a business model, like a contagion, like a warning. Because once a culture learns that morality itself can be monetized, the line between right and wrong stops mattering. What matters is the margin. And that's the final illusion of Las Vegas. Not the flashing lights or the jackpots, but the quiet whisper that tells you everything is fine, everything is fair, everything is green. As one commenter wrote under a viral Vegas video, they used to sell fantasy. Now they sell fake virtue. And both cost more than they're worth. The city that once gambled with luck is now gambling with integrity. And if it loses this bet, the bet for its own soul, it won't be the first city to fall.
It'll just be the first to do it under neon lights. Las Vegas was never meant to be perfect. It was meant to be alive, a city of risk and reward, where the impossible could happen under 1,000 flickering lights. But as the years passed, the gamble shifted. The risk no longer belonged to the gamblers. It belonged to the dream itself. Today, the Great American Playground stands as a glittering warning sign. Behind every neon shimmer lies a quiet decay. The strip still looks full on postcards, but in spirit, it's half empty, a stage set for a show that no longer believes in its own magic. 9 fees, 9 small betrayals, but together they tell a larger story, a story about how greed doesn't just ruin an economy, it rewrites a culture. Resort fees taught corporations they could lie and call it policy. Parking charges taught them hospitality could be taxed.
Service fees taught them generosity could be automated. Carbon surcharges taught them morality itself could be monetized. It's not the money that matters, it's the mindset. Vegas has become the mirror America refuses to look into, reflecting what happens when a country stops rewarding fairness and starts worshiping profit. The hidden fees of Las Vegas are simply a microcosm of the hidden costs of modern life. The price of convenience, the loss of community, the quiet acceptance that everything, even kindness, now comes with terms and conditions. We used to go to Vegas to escape the rules. Now, Vegas is the rule. And that rule is spreading. You see it every time an airline charges you to pick a seat that already exists. Every time a restaurant adds a wellness fee. Every time your streaming service quietly hikes its price and blames industry costs. The Vegas model, extract, disguise, repeat, has infected the entire American economy. But what makes this story tragic isn't just greed, it's how easily we've learned to tolerate it. We've stopped asking why. We've stopped demanding fairness. We've been conditioned to scroll past fine print, to click accept, to smile through the squeeze because that's just how things are now. That's exactly how Vegas fell. Not with outrage, but with resignation. The same city that once stood for hope has become a museum of complacency, where tourists line up to experience a fantasy built on frustration. Every blinking sign that says welcome now feels like a dare. How much more will you pay before you say enough? And yet amid the noise and the neon, there's still a heartbeat. The dealers who still slip you a grin. The performers who still believe in wonder. The locals who still love the city despite what it's become. They're the last guardians of the real Vegas, the one that lived in laughter, not ledgers. Because the truth is, Las Vegas doesn't have to stay this way. Greed is not destiny, it's a decision. The city could rediscover its charm if it wanted to, if it remembered that what made it special wasn't the lights or the luck, but the feeling it gave people. That for one night, life could be bigger, bolder, kinder. But to do that, it must stop seeing visitors as revenue streams and start seeing them as people again. It must stop taxing joy and start earning it. The warning here is simple, and it isn't just for Nevada. When a nation normalizes exploitation, when profit becomes the only principle left, even when morality has a surcharge, what's left to believe in? If America keeps following this path, it won't need a desert to become a wasteland. Because the real emptiness isn't on the Las Vegas Strip. It's in the space where trust used to be. So the next time you see the glowing skyline of Sin City, ask yourself, is it still shining? Or is it just burning out slowly? And maybe, before we lose more than money, before greed eats through the last corners of our culture, we should stop. Not just to complain, but to remember. Remember when hospitality meant being welcomed, not charged. When entertainment meant joy, not exhaustion. When America built things for people, not for profit margins. Because what happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas anymore. It spreads into every hotel, every receipt, every quiet acceptance of, that's just the way it is. And maybe that's the real gamble of our time. Not whether we win or lose, but whether we still care enough to play fair. So tell me, when you look at Las Vegas today, do you see a city of lights? Or the last bright warning before the rest of America goes dark?